You are listening to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, coming to you live on 105.3 right up to 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. UPRNTalkRadio.com.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. Yes, it is that time of year again. There's a show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, UFO Undercover, in the category of entertainment. UFO Undercover brings you some of the most revealing and current research that is being done with respect to alien abductions and contact. Host Joe Montaldo has been an abduction researcher for over 35 years and is uniquely qualified to bring you live interviews with some of the most well-known researchers in ufology. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate UFO Undercover in the category of entertainment. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and get out and vote now.
All right, everybody, it's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a very popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which boasts millions of listeners each week who are well known for and have been complimented on their very laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, esoteric, and other areas of high strangeness, and more. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Night with Shawn Kelly and my special co-host, Tara Brecken. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing great. Tara just went offline for some reason. Don't know why, but that's okay. I'm sure she'll be back. So what an interesting week for me. It's been so dang hot here in Pittsburgh. I'm telling you, it's like totally craziness. Hey, Freighter, good to see you, buddy. You're doing the caw. Cool. Yeah, I had a lot of them lately. You know, I think somehow that, you know, the crows are following me, which is okay because I hear doing okay. I like crows. Crows are good. Crows are very fascinating. Good evening, Sebastian. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Sebastian. Yeah, we're going to have a good show tonight, guys. First of all, before I continue on with the show, we are on UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 New Orleans and 107.7 Mississippi. And we're also on Roku. So if you have Roku, check us out. I think you have to put in paranormal something. I don't know. I can get the information for you guys later. But I guess Tara's having a little bit of problem there. So without ado, okay, I think that's how you say it, ado. We have a very interesting guest tonight. Her name is Stacy Dunkel, and she's 38 years old, married with two children. I own my own small business. She dyed Rogue Yarns, dyeing yarn and crocheting. I grew up in a Christian home, and my brother is working on becoming a chaplain in the Navy. But as of a few years ago, I started following the pagan path. I think the moment that started my paranormal beliefs was when I was around 5 years old. We live in Buttermilk Falls, never heard of that one, here in PA, and I believe to have seen my first Bigfoot while driving through the woods. I've had the love for anything paranormal related ever since. And everybody, I wanted to show that Tara is back, and our guest tonight, Stacy Dunkel. Welcome, Stacy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Couldn't be better. Hi, Tara.
Hey, sorry, technical difficulties. My computer didn't want to log me in right, so I had to go to my phone.
Hi, Mandy. Good to see you. Good. So tell us all about it, Stace. Let's hear it.
So, what do you want me to talk about? Go into first.
Start off a little bit of background about yourself, and then get into, and then we'll start asking you questions. What fascinates me the most, Stace, is that you were raised Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then all of a sudden that you went into the pagan, I guess you want to call it religion. I don't know, and that fascinates me very much so. You're the first person, besides another person I know, but you're actually the first person that I do not know that, went that route. And, I commend you for doing it. Okay. I believe if you're happy where whatever leads you on your path, how you feel when you're around people. Like for me, I was raised Catholic for so many years till I was 18. I guess I'm still considered Catholic because it is on my birth certificate, right? But to me, I'm more of a spiritual type of guy right now. I mean, I feel a lot better whenever I'm in the woods and I'm sitting down and sitting on this a rock or a tree stump or whatever, and just feeling the wonderful energy that's coming from Earth. The trees, flowers, waters, birds, the animals. I feel that way.
I completely agree with it and relate to that. Yeah.
And
but it's only like 10 feet in the woods because he is a city boy. He doesn't like to be deep in the woods.
That's right. I only do 10 feet. 10 yards. I'll get it 10 yards, maybe 15 if I'm happy. But, if I'm adventurous. Frater is a fern devil worshiper. Hi, we all know that, buddy. My friend Frater is a devil worshiper. That's just cool. He's a good dude. Really, he's a really good dude.
Heard a lot of good things about him. I have yet to meet him though.
Oh, you do. How about you, Tara? How do you feel of Stacy's little venture?
So I didn't know a lot about her like deep history. I know a little bit about the newer stuff. Mm-hmm. How we met was her business and going to rituals and different things at Natasha's shop. I think her business is pretty cool because she crochets and loves it. But like, she'll tell you more in depth of what she does because she does something most people don't do. It's new, it's exciting, it's fun. She goes to moon markets. She's in a bunch of stores here. I love her purses, I'm not going to lie. I have two, and I have two of her shawls. So, like, she saw a need and decided to fill it for kids and adults that didn't have their needs met, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. But, okay, Stacy, fire away.
So, I mean, I did grow up in a Christian home. It wasn't like super religious, like, we weren't Bible thumpers or anything. I mean, we'd go on Sundays and go to church. Like, I think it was more, we have to go because that's what my parents did. So it was like kind of almost felt like going through the motions, at least for me. Is like, okay, I'm going because I'm being taken there, but it never felt right to me. Like, a lot of the stuff was just like, but why? But why? And, you know, you're a kid growing up Christian, you start asking questions, and they're like, oh, that's just how it is. We don't ask questions. You know, you just believe. And it's like, okay, but why? And that's, I think, what really started it for me at a young age is like, you know, I always felt like I was sitting on the outside, just watching what they were doing. I didn't feel like I was a part of it. And it just didn't, you know, it didn't speak to me. But I always loved being in the woods. I loved being outside. I loved being in nature. I know a lot of people know the little saying when you're a kid, I see the moon sees me, God bless the moon, God bless me. My grandma
Never
always
heard of
used
that.
to, oh,
Never
really?
heard of
Wow.
that. Nope.
My grandma always used to say that to me when I was little. And then as I was older, we'd be driving somewhere at night and I'd, you know, be staring, looking for the moon every night. Like, where is it? Where is it? And just repeating that. And I felt more connection with the moon and all of that and nature than I did and ever sitting in a pew at church. So I knew then that, you know, something was different. Something was, you know, I felt a different pull, and I've always been drawn to crystals and just anything, you know, natural. We just went to the beach for a week for vacation down in the Outer Banks, and I can't even explain how peaceful I felt. Just sitting there listening to the waves, just sitting there feeling the wind blowing, you know, just it's such a connection, you know, and it was nothing like I've ever felt. So we visited the Cora tree, which was amazing. Like, you could just touch the tree and just feel the energy coming from it. It was amazing. So yeah, I mean, you know, you go to church camp and you go through the motions. Oh yeah, sure, guy, I want to be baptized. And it's like, it never really felt like, you know, how people say, oh, I felt it. And it's like, I kind of just wanted them to stop asking me if I felt it. So I said, yeah, sure. let's just do it and get it out of the way so you can leave me alone.
I can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, and it's so funny because like in my bio, my brother is going to school to practice he wants to be a chaplain in the Navy. More power to him. He, you know, I have so many uncles and cousins that are preachers in different Christian, you know, churches. And I grew up in a Brethren church, and a lot of people haven't heard of Brethren, but it's a little bit more free thinking than like the Baptists and all of that, which I think, I guess, goes along with the way my family was growing up, because, you know, it wasn't very strict. I didn't have to wear dresses. I didn't have to do certain things like some of the other ones do.
Okay, so this brings me a question. How do you and your brother get along now that he's going to be a chaplain in the Navy and you practice in paganism?
So it hasn't really been an issue. He is a lot like our dad, where he kind of wants to speak his piece and he doesn't want to listen as well as he says he wants to. I'm kind of used to it just because I've grown up with him, you know, and he does listen. He's not as judgmental as a lot of family can be when they, you know, when they find out, but like he does like to listen and talk about things and discuss them and see, you know, how they can relate or how he can understand it. So it's not like he doesn't come into my house throwing holy water or anything. Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but yeah, it's fun when he comes to visit because, you know, he likes to talk about things. But like I said, usually I'm just sitting there kind of listening, like, okay, go ahead. Let's see what you have to say this time. And, you know, I'll start saying things and he gets super defensive, and I'm like, okay, he is my younger brother, so there's that I gotta impress her, I gotta show her that I'm smart. And it's like, I know you're smart, it's just you gotta learn to listen.
Tara, any questions or sweetie?
So I know you have a special connection with a Damon. How did that begin? And tell the audience who that is.
So I follow Loki. Loki is my buddy. He's my pal. So actually, it was probably around 2020 when I actually really acknowledged him. There's been so much chaos in my life since I was young that it's wild to me that it took that long for me to notice. I was literally sitting in my living room crocheting one day, and it was like fall. It was a cold day, and there's just this random fly just flying around my living room, and I'm like, what the heck? Where did that even come from? It's too cold for a fly right now. And I'm like, whatever. So I'm just crocheting, and all of a sudden it just literally just lands on my hand while I'm crocheting and just sits there. And I like try and, shake my hand, like, get off, and it just stuck there. It did not want to leave me. And I'm like, and something just like hit me like, isn't Loki associated with flies? And like I started looking up information as soon as I could, and so many things started clicking for me and making sense, and and then him being associated with not making, I'm like, well, no wonder I crochet. I'm like, no wonder he was sitting there, because that's what he likes, and it's just after I acknowledged that and started looking into it, it's just like, okay, now I can kind of put a name to the feeling that I've felt a lot of my life, like just being there. I could never, it never felt like, when you're going to church and they're like, oh, Jesus is with you. Jesus is with you. And it's like, but what if that's not who I'm feeling? And I don't know who I'm feeling, but I know it's not him. And it's just like, that's who it was. That a lot of stuff clicked then for me.
So my question to you is, and mainly for my listeners tonight, who's Loki?
Loki is the Norse god of mischief.
Okay.
A lot of people will say, oh, like in Marvel. No, that's completely not the same thing. Marvel takes bits and pieces from like the Norse mythology with Thor and Loki and Hel and all of the other things, and they just manipulate it to what they need it to be for the movies, and for the comics and everything. But so everybody thinks of Loki, they think of him in that, the picture of him with that crown with the two horns on, and he's all green, and but yeah, the real Norse Loki, definitely a god of mischief, definitely getting himself into trouble. A lot of the trouble he got into was his own doing, but he got himself out. He's very comforting to me in times of chaos, because that's what he is. He's just chaos. And to me, that feels normal, because like I said, my life always felt so chaotic growing up. So it's just like, I find calm in his chaos. So
Well, I understand that, but during, so he's the god of craziness, right? We'll say craziness.
Of mischief, yes.
Of mischief, whatever. But how does he help you?
Oh, it's it's almost hard for me to explain. It's just
just say just come out and say what you want to say. We have very smart and intelligent people out here in that listen to my show.
It's just a sense of him being there and being able to say, okay, I can see your chaos because I am chaos, and I can calm this for you, or I can make it worse, or I can I can help you through it and come out. And it's more so that with the chaos comes understanding of the shadow part of myself. And I've done a lot of shadow work since reading and looking into him and starting to follow that path. And that's what he does. He brings up stuff and he's like, you got to deal with it or you're going to keep having problems and you're not going to be able to work through it until you deal with it. So it's been him helping me to face things that I've been trying to run from my entire life. So
okay. So, and if you would put that onto the spiritual side, it's basically like your spirit guide, correct?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Okay. Tara, any questions?
What color is associated with Loki?
So I associate greens and yellows, oranges, golds. Those are a lot of the colors I use with him. Now, a lot of people don't think about it or don't know it, but once you get Loki, sometimes you get his family. So Loki has many children. He's got Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse that Odin rides. That was his first child. He can transform. He transformed into a horse and had a baby with another horse. There's a whole story about that myth, but there's Sleipnir, there's Jormungandr, the big serpent that is in the sea. There's Hel, who she is his daughter, and she reigns over Helheim. I think I said that right. And then there's Fenrir, his son that's a wolf, and he's got a couple others as well. But yeah, I definitely have Fenrir in my house. So Fenrir's a lot of red candles and things like that, and as well as Jormungandr, he's always around. So they always say once you start following Loki, you get the whole family.
Okay. So what is like, you know how angels like Gabriel is all about protecting the gate of hell, or what's Loki's?
So I'm not sure he really protects any certain space. He's he's a blood brother with Odin. They weren't actually born. They aren't brothers as in like me and my brother. They made a blood pact. So they're like blood brothers. So Thor isn't really his brother like they portray in the Marvel movies. But he does a lot of I don't know. It's I'm still getting out all of the different things lined up as well, because there's a lot when it comes to horse. Yeah.
So right now you're just learning how to deal with Loki, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I
think that's a lifetime thing with him, though.
Okay. Not bad. Tara, do you have anything?
So Stacy has a little known fact about her, but she works heavily with auras.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I used to do it a lot when I was younger. When I was a teenager, I think I practiced every night. I kind of let it go a while because I was, the family was like, that's weird. People are going to look at you weird. You need to stop talking about that. Like, I don't want to hear about it. And it's like, but it's really cool. Like, people have colors all around them. How can you not see that? How can you not think that's cool? Why don't you want to know about it? But it's something I need to get back to practicing again. but yeah, it comes and goes. Sometimes when I'm meditating, I can see the colors around my Loki altar. I see the greens and the yellows vibrating around it. I'll see colors around people at times. Usually I only do it when they ask, though, because I don't like to pry. I don't like to do things without people's consent. Um, but yeah.
So
She and I
for the
have that
peop-
same philosophy with me being an empath and her seeing auras. We both think it's like an invasion of privacy if we see something we're not supposed to.
Oh yeah, no, it is. No, it definitely is. I can't go out and tell somebody that when I see like death around them, or if I see someone's going to die or anything like that, I can't tell them that, because you know why? I'm not God.
Yeah.
So it's like that's how I work. Because whenever I would do readings, okay, at psychic fairs, I would see it. You know what I mean? But there was no way for me to tell them. But you could just look in their eyes, and they're just like begging for answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to die? Am I going to die?
Mm-hmm.
So I found out by saying, well, I will just tell you that there's a lot of angels singing around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of got the relief. But no, you're right. It is an invasion. I won't read anybody. I can't. I would feel guilty.
Oh, right. Exactly. I mean, now I get little things every once in a while, and I'm sure if you ever talk to Natasha, she'll confirm it. Like, I get little thoughts when I'm out. I'm like, she needs coffee. I need to pick her up some coffee or something. Or I bet she could use some lunch. I'm going by that way. I need to get her a snack. Like, and I just show up, and more often than not, it's, how do you know? Like, how did you know I needed this? And I'm like,
Right.
I don't
Or
know.
you'll inbox me when I'm sad
Yeah.
and you'll say something random and I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. Yeah. So yeah.
You don't know how many people, how you literally, I get a thought and I'm like, I need to message them. My husband gets that too. He's been actually starting to listen to that more. He's still a little hesitant about it, but he, with everything that I've been, starting to look into and everything, he's been allowing himself to be a little bit more open to that. But like, growing up, my mom always used to joke and say, that's just our ESPN working.
That's funny.
I would call my grandma usually after she got home from work. This was back when, she had the rotary dial phone on the wall. She didn't have caller ID. I was like probably 10, 11. I'm like, I want to call my grandma. She should be home from work right now. And literally, because she worked different times. So, and I'm 10, I don't know what she works. And I'd call and she'd be like, where's the camera? How did you know that I just walked in the door? And I'm like, I don't know. I do that all the time with my husband. But yeah, I'll message my friends at times, and I'll send them something, and like they need this, or I'll be looking at something and someone I haven't talked to in months. It'll be,
Mm-hmm.
I need to send this to them. And their response is always, how do you know? How do you always know? I'm like, because I listen.
Well, that's. But what's amazing about that? But before I come to that question, I would like you, please, if you can, explain to my people out there listening to the show tonight, what's an aura?
So an aura is an energy field. Everybody has an energy field around them. I call it a personal bubble sometimes, but it's the energy from your emotions, just your energy. Anything can change it. A change in your emotion, a change in the people around you, a change in your surroundings. It's basically, it just shows what you're feeling and what your energy is. Now, a lot of people have a light energy on them, or if they're in a bad place, they'll have like a darker kind of energy. It can be clogged if you're blocking things, if you're not dealing with things, and it just feels like a yuck all over you if you're not dealing with things. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will say that, like, oh, I just feel blah. It's usually when you're not dealing with something that you need to, either mentally, physically, emotionally, it can actually bring your energy down, and a lot of people don't realize that that's part of it. But yeah, it can be close to you, it can be far out. Sometimes it's really big. I know I have a couple of friends who can see them too, and they always tell me, Stacy, yours is blinding. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't see my own, but I can see other people's. But
Right.
yeah.
This Virgil has a question. I think Tara would be good on this, and Stacy, if you want to give it a shot. Virgil says, I can't even get arrested in this godforsaken town. The birds are really fussy, more chance of getting hit by lightning while being attacked by a great white shark than getting a leg over around here. Any thoughts? Not everybody speak at one time.
Weird.
I don't
What
know,
did you say? A
Virgil.
lake?
Virgil, you having like problems at your place where you're living at now, bud? What's going on?
Yeah, I need to
You
know
know,
more, because usually when birds are going crazy like that, there's some kind of message they're trying to convey. It would bird. It would depend on the time of day. Is it all the time? Is it a murder of crows? What is it like?
if you give us more information, Virgil, the girls could do a real good job helping you out. So give us a little bit more there. So Stacy, so looking at me, what's my aura?
Oh, see, and that's hard because you have
No, it
that
ain't.
background behind you and everything, but it's like I said, I haven't been in good practice for a while, so it might take a little bit, but
Give it a shot. The hell. Trust what you feel and trust what you see. Don't ever doubt. Never doubt. And
see,
while
I would
she's
say
thinking,
they were some blues and purples, not just because of the background there, because I know there's
right,
purple in there, but it's a different purple. It's a different kind of purple.
it's very spiritual purple, is it not?
Yes.
Yes. So Tara, how was your trip?
It was good. A little different, but it was good. My son graduated from Camp Geiger to Camp Lejeune. He is now part of the 2nd Division Bravo Company LAR, and they are discussing what they want to do with him. He is going to probably be a droneman.
Oh, cool.
A what? A
A
what?
guy that flies drones.
Oh man, that'd be sweet.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
that'd
especially
be
with him
pretty cool.
playing all those video games all those years.
Well,
So
I
excited.
mean, look at the Ukrainian war, God bless. They got people to fly those drones who actually play games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
Well,
what I
that's the
mean?
thing. You've known him his whole life. Well, you've known me before he was even born. The girls were little. My gosh, over 20 years. So, God, it's more like 5. Just, ooh. Anyway, we won't.
Trevor says, tell him not to drink the water.
That's my husband.
That is true. He literally, I don't know if I ever sent you that picture. At some point in time, he sent a picture to me, Ashlyn, and Beth. Ashlyn's his girlfriend, Beth's her mom, of clear, like, drink cup. I don't know what I call them sippy cups for adults, but anyway, of water he had just put in there from the faucet, and it looked like swamp water.
Oh,
It was gross.
yeah.
And that was a Geiger. Yeah. So, but yeah, I pulled the spades out when I talked to all of his upper echelon at Geiger, though.
That's pretty good. At least you had a good trip. At least Johnny graduated now. You know, he's part of that naval infantry. So I just want him to know that, welcome to the naval infantry. But back
That's
to
it.
Stacy. Tell us. I would like to know a little bit more about really, really what you like about paganism.
To me, it's just very inclusive of everyone. There's the deities in paganism are not infallible. They make mistakes just like we do. They get caught. They have trouble. They don't. It's not something like you don't bow down to them. They walk beside you and they guide you. And more like to the way I feel inside, the way I follow, the way it just clicks, and it feels more spiritual to me when I know that I'm not dealing with someone. Ha! I can't believe you did that. I'm perfect, and this just proves it. That you're not. I mean, I know I'm not, but just knowing that it's they're there when you call. You feel them. At least I do. It's just that feeling that they are walking with you, and they're not above. They don't feel, oh, I'm above you, so you just have to wait for me to be ready. So that's one thing that really, really kind of calls to me more so than anything. And that has a lot to deal with, I think, the way it was portrayed growing up in church, like, oh, you're not perfect, but he is. So you have to do everything that we tell you that he says to do because he's perfect and you have to be like him. And it's like, well, if I'm not perfect and I'm never going to be, then how can I be like him? Like that doesn't make sense to me. So,
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Tara?
So I alluded a little bit to your business. First and foremost, explain to everybody why you make the things you do and what you make.
So I make the things that I make because it makes me happy. I create things that I enjoy because when I do crochet, a lot of things when I'm crocheting them, I do put a lot of my energy or positive energy into things I make. When I make them for specific people and I know something about them, like with Tara, when I made her shawl, when I was creating that, I just thought about how much I wanted her to feel loved and comfort and healing when she's wearing it. I do that a lot with things whenever people order things like that. But I just try and put a little bit of something positive that I can into all the different things that I make. It just, it's like we always say too, when you crochet, there's a little piece of you in everything you make because your hair always falls out and it's in everything. So.
Well, see, the way I look at that with you crocheting and doing that, if I'm not mistaken, and I would do it, the Lakota Sioux shaman would actually make, prayer ties.
Okay.
Okay. They would get green, white, red, black, and I know there's another color. It was the four directions of the world universe. And each time that they would make a tie, they would put some tobacco in there, and they'll tie it together. And and so I can honestly see where the crocheting could be in kind of like in the same way. Now, whenever you're crocheting your stuff, are you mentally or deep into thought or into some type of meditation?
So I would say for me, it almost feels like a trance at times when I start going into something like because I do some skull shawls. I know Tara's worn hers on here before when I've seen her, but I've made so many of them that I don't need the patterns anymore. So when I'm going and I'm just going, it literally feels like I'm just in my own bubble in a trance, and everything else kind of blacks out for a while. And it does feel very meditative to me. When I come out of it, it's kind of like, whoa, what time is it? How long was I doing this for? Like, oh crap, I need to eat. You know?
So
yeah.
when you're crocheting though, in your mind at the beginning, you're coming up with a pattern that you want to do, correct? But
So,
you ever get to the part where you don't know what it turns out to be?
So no, I usually do follow a pattern. Like I said, a lot of the patterns that I use, I've made things so many times that it's just in my memory. I don't even need to look. I just go.
Okay.
And sometimes I don't even have to think about it. I'm just like, and by the time I'm done, I'm like, I don't even remember making this. Like, like it's literally just that meditative. Like I'm doing it and not even thinking about it. Like there's just like nothing going on, and I just feel like just peace. So
Okay.
I know a lot of times that goes into a lot of things that I do as well. I was just, like I said, I was just down at the Outer Banks, and Natasha is wanting another shawl from me, and I told her, I know how much you love the beach, so when I go down, I'm gonna start it while I'm sitting on the beach. And someone's like, well, what if it gets sand in it? I said, then perfect, because then that will be there for her, because that's important to her. So,
Right.
I sit there and put into it all the things that I want for her to be able to feel while she's wearing it. Like the power of the ocean, the smell of the salt air, the feeling of the sand, the firmness of the sand, the power of the waves, just things like that. Whenever I know it's for a certain person, I can put more into what I make than just when I make random things to sell at the moon markets.
So would you consider that like a healing shawl?
Yes, I would. I would consider that a healing shawl. A lot of different places they'll have churches will have little, old lady groups that make prayer shawls. I consider it kind of something like that. But I wouldn't say it's a prayer shawl. I would say more like healing shawl or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Coven shawl.
A what?
Our coven shawl.
Yes, our coven shawl. Yeah. Yeah, I actually
so you are. Oh, go ahead. What do you got there?
I have hers like part. It's not finished yet, but this is the skull shawls.
Oh wow, that is cool as hell.
So,
Oh.
so yeah, hers is partially done. I told her I was gonna start it down there, but I'll finish it up here. And I make my little. This is my little Mothman.
Okay. Uh-huh. That's cool as
His little
hell.
wings. Yeah, Mothman goes with me everywhere, and I have a Instagram account, and on my Facebook for Dyed Rogue Yarns, I take pictures and post and where I take them places and hashtag where's Mothman, and
Okay.
it was fun. I just took him down. I took him down to the Outer Banks too, so I just posted a bunch of pictures of him, down there at the Outer Banks. Everybody loves it. It's hilarious.
So that's cool. To bring him along with you.
Yeah.
This is pretty interesting. So you are part of a coven?
So we say it's our coven. I think it was a joke that started a while back, and I think we've all kind of adopted it down there at Natasha's shop. It's kind of like a joke that's become reality, in a way.
Why would
Some
it be
people call it the coven, some people call it the cult, but
Yeah.
we've all said, we're sisters and brothers that just hang out.
I call it my chosen family more
Okay.
often than not down there.
Yeah, I call it my
And-
fram.
And so have you learned a lot from your Framps down there?
Oh yeah, I've learned so much from Tara and from Natasha and Brittany and everyone down there, and Cassie. Oh my gosh, like yeah, everybody has their little thing that they bring to the family down there to the group, and I've definitely learned so much. And like I said, I'm excited for the next time Reverend Frater Crow comes down, because I can't wait to see him talk and learn from him. Natasha's talked so much about him and all the things that he does that it's just like I'm almost like I'm afraid to meet him now. I don't know what to do.
Oh my God, no. Frater's so cool, man. Frater's really cool. I mean, I've had him on my show at least 2 or 3 times already.
Oh
He's a
yeah, I
good
have
dude.
watched when he's on. So
Yeah.
it's
What the hell's
it's
going
really
on with Tara
amazing
there?
listening to him talk.
Do you
He's just,
see Tara's picture there?
yeah. I
What the
think
hell's
she's
going
losing
on?
some signal or something.
Holy crap, man. Maybe that's coming from the
There she goes.
Frampers. You know, who knows?
All that family energy.
Yeah.
So, for anybody, you know, that, because I want to get on to other subjects with you, okay? So, if somebody wanted to get a Shaw off of you, how would they go by, you know, getting a hold of you for that?
So
Or
I
do you
like I said,
take requests?
I do take requests. Yes. A lot of things, the bigger things like the shawls and that, I do prefer to get requests for it so that people get the colors that they want or the size that they want, because I've made them bigger or smaller depending. But I have my Facebook page for Dyed Rogue Yarns. They can message me there. I have my Etsy shop. It's all Dyed Rogue Yarns. Any kind of message there. I sell them out of Mystique Moon down in town in Butler. Or down at Natasha's shop, Little Shop of Lilith. Anybody can request one through them there or get a hold of me. That way, my business cards are down there too. But yeah, I do take requests. I have a few things that I'm working on for a few other people, but usually things work out pretty quickly. So.
Well, that's good, because I find it very interesting. I really do. How much energy you put into making the Shaw and how much of your energy that you do put into it.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that would be knocking at your door wanting some, you know what I mean? I know at least 10 or 12 people that would be knocking on your door about that.
You haven't even seen her glow in the dark ghosties yet. They're cute.
Oh, wow. I want one. I want one.
This is my little guy. I got a bunch in the works for this coming moon market. I sell this stuff at the moon markets too down on Main Street in Butler. The next one is this Friday from 5 to 9. So I'll have ghosties there. Yeah, they're fun.
And
they
she
glow
makes Loch Ness monsters and everything. Yeah. I mean, and all Bigfoot, of the cryptids.
And,
So with how often would you, okay, so they say that the sun gives off a lot of energy, right? Yes. But I also heard that the moon gives off more.
I don't know if I'd say more.
I feel more, for me personally, I feel more active when there's a full moon out, and just looking at feeling the energy from the full moon.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I've felt that a lot my entire life as well. I think some people are more in tune with the moon, and some people are more in tune with the sun. They say like Leos are very in tune with sun energy, and then I haven't looked into yet what all are more in tune with the moon, but I'm a Gemini myself, so I find kind of like the duality of it. I love the moon, so.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini myself, you know what I mean? But Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Tara, do you have any other questions that you would like to ask Stacy before, the 9 o'clock hour comes up? Now I would like to get into some other stuff.
Sure. What do you think the greatest lesson you've learned is being with the Covenant, a group of people that we're associated with?
the biggest lesson I've learned, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately, is that there can be no light without dark. That you cannot be all love and light. You have to embrace the darkness within you as well as the light to balance, because it's all about balancing. And when you're more concentrated on one, you forget the other, and that's why a lot of people can't find balance, is because they think, oh well, I can't worry about any of the dark stuff in me, I just got to focus on the light. You need that darkness. You need all of the parts of you to be in balance and be able to feel whole. And that's, I think a lot of people don't realize that or don't understand that. And that's one big thing I've learned from the group and from Natasha mainly. Like, balance is her word. Like, you go in there and you ask her what should I work on first, and balance is her big message to everybody. You've got to learn how to balance, or it's just not gonna, it's all gonna feel chaotic.
Okay, but see here, there's a lot of people that could be listening, or that you sound interesting, okay, and I'm thinking on what they're thinking. I'm not saying, I'm just saying what they're saying, right? That there's some people think that it's pretty interesting that what you're saying and what you do, but I can guarantee them a lot of them are afraid of when you come talk about the darkness, because people were brought up that the darkness was bad all the time. You know, there was evil things in the dark. And so how would you explain to me, if I really could not understand what you mean by the dark being part with the light? I mean, because I dismissed that on the light. I'm not even thinking about the light. My train of thought is thinking of you telling me about the dark. So how would you explain that to me?
So, I mean, the first thing I would say is, everybody that I know of, or everybody I've talked to, you understand the meaning of the yin yang sign. There's a little bit of darkness and light, and there's a little bit of light and darkness. It's a balance thing there as well. Your darkness is where all the things that you have been taught your entire life are bad, or aren't good, or need to be hidden because people are going to look at you differently, or it's all those things that you've been taught to be ashamed of, that you just pack away, and you don't look at it anymore, and it's basically losing pieces of yourself, because all of those things that those people told you, that's bad, that's not okay, that's weird, that's you. That's who you are. They're basically telling you pieces of you aren't good, and that they're dark, or they're bad, or they need to be hidden. So in that darkness is where all those pieces are. And if you keep ignoring them, they're going to come up, and they're going to keep bothering you, and they're going to keep knocking on your door being like, I'm still here. And people are going to tell you, oh, don't think about that. It's bad. Okay, but why is it bad? Because they say it's bad, or because someone told them the same thing and they're afraid to deal with it too? It's a lot of looking at those pieces and saying, okay, this is a part of who I am. It may be good. It may not be good. It may be a bad habit you have or had, and you're just not wanting to deal with it. But it's accepting that part of you and looking at it and saying, how do I integrate this back into myself? How do I transform this into something that I can accept and learn from to make myself better, so that I can become whole again and I can balance my life? Because a lot of people will tell you, I don't feel balanced. I don't feel like there's balance in my life. I feel like things are off. And it's because they're hiding and they're holding back so much of who they are, because they perceive it as a darkness or a bad thing, when it's not. It's just who they are. You've just been told so long that it's not okay, that you've learned to believe it, and it's shaking off those beliefs that were put onto you when you were younger, and saying that's me. I just need to be me. And if they can't accept it, then that's on them. But they're not going to take that away from me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to
God
make
bless
me
you.
bad.
Goddess bless you. Goddess bless you. Honest to God, because that was really, I enjoyed what you had to say there.
Thanks.
That was very enlightening. I'm being honest with you on that. I wouldn't. It was very enlightening on that. So one more quick question. I'm trying to make it up till 9 o'clock so we can get into our commercial. Is there any other thing on your mind, Tara? Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Well, there's a big one I want to discuss with her in the next hour, so because we know each other pretty well, but
okay, we'll start you off at 9 o'clock. All right, you can. I mean, that's all yours on that one. I mean, that's not a problem there. But
you're gonna get a little excited.
But I knows that you have good energy. All right, Stacy, you got good energy. Okay, you're in the right spot with the girls up there. All righty, Natasha was on my show at one time, and good girl. I mean, and you know, I being in the paranormal field that I was for so long. Okay, I retired from it, but I really felt a connection to the Wiccans, to the pagans, meeting Frater, now the Luciferians, you know what I mean? It's just one big, study for me. And I learned a lot from you tonight. I learned a lot from Tara. I learned a lot from Frater, you know what I mean? So it's not like I'm afraid because you're a Wiccan, okay?
Yeah.
All right, that's nothing like that. But I will tell you this, okay? And I don't hold back at what I say, but I believe the reason there's a lot of people. I think the name is emo, okay? Emotional people. I do believe that they never did fit in into society, so they made their way into Wiccan paganism, Luciferian. Um, Me, okay, I was the same way, right? Um, Growing up, no matter how hard I tried to fit in, I could never fit in. Okay. I tried buying the same clothes that the boys are wearing. You know what I mean? Doing exactly what they were doing. But for some reason, I felt that I did not belong. And it took me up to the age of what, 24? When I was 24, and something happened to me when I was in the service. I was in the Navy too, and it just seems like my eyes were opened up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that you know all emotional emos or whoever people who just do not fit in. I think it's a great thing that groups like yours, Natasha's, and whoever accepts the people and shows them love because you know what, the way the world is today,
Oh yeah.
we all need love. We all need someone that
Oh
come
yeah,
up
and it's shocking to me, like going to church and being told as a kid, oh, you should love your neighbor, you should love everybody, you shouldn't judge anybody, and I felt more judgment there than I have ever felt in Natasha's shop or with any of my chosen family. Like there's just complete and total acceptance there, like unconditional. And you walk into any church, and I've never felt that inside any church I've ever been in. I mean, I've gone to a lot. I've been to a lot of different ones, and there are some people there. I'm not saying they're all bad, but there's a lot of hypocrisy that I've seen in a lot of the different churches I've been in, and it never feels welcoming. They always look at you, the girl with all of the bead bracelets and all the necklaces, and they kind of walk away from you a little bit and give you a little bit of distance when they walk past you. They don't They don't, and
Okay.
I walk into Natasha's shop and everyone's like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, I love your bracelets. Oh, I love
Right.
your necklace. Talk to me."
Tara looks like
That's
it's St.
different.
Patrick's Day. Look at
She
that.
does.
Is that a filter on your computer or what?
No, what are you looking at?
You're
Have
green.
green like all across your face.
No,
No lie on
probably my
that one.
phone.
Okay, it is 9 o'clock right now, so I want to thank our sponsor, Carnation, tonight for sponsoring the second hour of Into the Night with Shawn and Tara. So thank you, Carnation. They have good stuff. Carnation has some good stuff. So thank you again, Carnation. So the second part of the show, the second hour, or we'll say the second 45, 50 minutes of the show, I was reading your bio,
Uh-huh.
and it said that you saw a Bigfoot. Would you
Yes.
like
So
to share on that?
I would love to talk about that because, when you're a kid, your parents never want to believe you when you say you see things in the woods. They're like, "Oh no, it's just a tree or something." It's just a distinctive memory that I have driving in the car when I had to have been around 5 or 6, because after that we moved to a little different city. But how being in love with nature as I have always been, it was always looking out the car window as a child. So just looking at the trees and looking at other things, seeing what I could see in the woods. And we were back in Buttermilk Falls, and I'm just looking out the window as we're driving slowly on the road past this big, it was just like a forest of trees. And I still can see it almost plain as day in my mind. It looked like a almost like the size of an orangutan or so, like in the distance, but it was huge, and it was like holding on to onto the tree limbs and standing on a big limb underneath it, just staring at the road. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's a big ape or something back there in the tree." And my parents like, "Oh no, that can't be. There's no apes in Pennsylvania. You just were seeing things." And it's just like, no, there was something in the tree. And to this day, I can still see it in my mind just as plain as day. And I'm just like, I saw my first Bigfoot when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Nobody believed me.
Have you ever seen any more after that?
I have not. I would have loved to, but
Because the people, my people that listen to the show and are really Bigfoot hunters, okay,
yes.
and they know a lot about the Bigfoot. I know a lot of good people that talk about and actually study and are very knowledgeable about the Bigfoot. So maybe I can hook you up with one of them, maybe to get you going on something. But Tara, it's on you now. The
Well,
second
first and
hour.
foremost, tell him where Buttermilk Falls is.
Yeah, please.
I'm really bad with directions, so my husband will agree with that. I grew up in Worthington after I was about 6 years old, after my brother was born. I don't know if you know where that is, Fenelton area.
It's halfway. It's halfway between Butler and Katanning on 422, Shawn.
Yeah.
Oh, Buttermilk Falls.
Well, Worthington and Worthington. So I would say it's kind of in the same kind of area, but
Hey,
so
Trevor, if you want, can you give me a hint?
What's that?
Trevor's on, so I was wondering
Oh,
if he
yeah.
did make life a lot easier for me. That's
Yeah,
all right.
I was trying to look it up.
Don't worry about it. Don't.
Yeah, I wanted to look it up earlier before the show, but I had to make dinner, so.
That's okay. All right, Tara, she's all yours.
So, Stacy, Shawn doesn't know about your house.
Oh, okay. So, my house, we have a couple things. He says he doesn't know where Buttermilk Falls is either. So we definitely have my husband's mother here, his late mother. She's always playing little pranks on us. She was always a prankster, and while she was living, so she likes to play with our lights and hide things, and she loves to hide my keys. But she's here. We have my late Aunt Ruby. She's my daughter's protector. We know for sure that that's my daughter's guardian angel. She was her girl in life, and I said, "There's no way in death that woman's not going to be around her. She's going to be her protector." But we also have had something else in the house. There's something that my daughter's always been like a happy kid, and maybe about 5 years or so after we moved into the new house, you could tell that she was something was changing. She was more moody. She was like always wanted to be by herself, didn't want to be a part of things anymore, broody, like it's like, what's going on? The band, she joined the band, and that kind of helped a little bit, but it would always be where I couldn't even go into her room for very long periods of time, because we'd start fighting, or I'd just get like this angry feeling just being in her room. And she went on a band trip in 2021. They went to Disney for, I can't remember how many days, like 4 or 5 days. And we went and cleaned the room, cleaned up things, like kind of pulled some things out so she could go through some stuff, try to rearrange and get some better energy in her room. And I'm in there the one day, my husband's at work. My son was playing in his room or something, and I'm in there moving things around, and I don't know if you've heard of the app, what is it, Ghost Tube? Yeah. Ghost Tube. I was like, I've seen it on a couple things, maybe I'll try it out. So I turned it on, and I'm in her room, and before this I had done some different things that I had looked up to try and seal. She had a mirror in her room that never really felt quite right to me. It wasn't an old mirror either. It said IKEA on the back, so it couldn't have been too old. Right. But there's just something about this mirror that I didn't like it. I didn't like looking at it. She didn't like it. It was faced towards her bed. She would put a bandana over it at nighttime because she just didn't like it being there. So I turned on the Ghost Tube. I have some notes because it's been a while, but I turned that on, and I had recently found out that there was an older owner of the house that had died in the house. There had been an old lady that passed away in the kitchen, and they had to break down the door to get in to get her out and everything. So I'm not sure if it was her or if there was something else that was in there. But I was like, I wonder if I can get something with the Ghost Tube app, see if it's her or see if something else is going on. So I turned it on. I get some random words that didn't make any sense in the living room, but I went to her room. When I go into her room, I'd always get words like evil or hell or just nothing good, when I'd ask it. So we would sage her room, and she'd say it feel better for a couple days, but then it always kind of went back to not feeling good in there. Never laughed.
I'll tell you why, huh? Because saging, putting salt on the windowsill, is a band-aid for the spirit. Okay? Because eventually what's going to happen, that sage is going to wear off.
Yeah.
And somehow that salt is going to be, brushed away. Okay? And that spirit, okay, is going to come back with a vengeance.
Oh, yeah, and it always did, too.
Is it still doing that? Are you still having problems there?
So that's part of the story. So let's see. So when I went into her room while she was out on her band trip, I went in and I was like, okay, is there anyone in here that needs to say something or would like to talk to me? And I got words. The first word that I got was hell again. And then it was grandfather, murdered, shopkeeper. And I said, okay, listen, whoever's here, I don't know what happened. I don't know who you are. We are the new owners of this house. We had nothing to do with it. Whatever happened, and we're not the ones that did anything to you. We're new owners here. This is our space. They're to leave my daughter alone, leave her room alone. This isn't their place anymore. They need to go. And then I said something told me to ask about the mirror, and I said, is there something attached to the mirror in this room? And immediately after I asked that, the ghost tube goes, yes.
Okay.
I literally just chills and goosebumps all over my entire body when it said yes. And I'm
now
just
the mirror, is it attached to like a buffet type where you put clothes in?
No, it was just like a wall mirror that you would hang on the wall. It was just like a,
Well, mirrors are portals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Can I make a suggestion to you? Can I make a suggestion?
You can, but I can tell you we do not own the mirror anymore.
Well, if you want to really, kind of see about what goes in and out of mirrors, right? Mm-hmm. You take 2 mirrors and you put them apart, maybe about 2-3 feet, and shoot a camera right through the middle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually see spirits going in and out of the mirrors.
Oh, that gives me chills thinking about it.
But speaking of this, I got a story to tell you though, and it's true. And I still want to find this picture and put it out. We were up in Kittanning doing an investigation at a house. Okay, so I was down in this bedroom down in the cellar. Okay. So I'm taking random pictures, the mirrors and everything like that. So I get home the next morning, I put them up on the computer and I'm looking. On my father's grave, I shit y'all not, right? There was a picture, an outline of a goat face, okay? It was a goat face. Mm-hmm. And it was in a tuxedo. And his arms were out like this, okay? And in each arm, he had 3 heads of human beings in his head, on his arms. That is the truth. That was a very, very hardcore investigation.
Oh, I bet.
Wow. I didn't even know that one.
No, there's a lot of shit you don't know about me, honey. I ain't giving it all out. But no, that was the face of the goat in a tuxedo. No lie. Honest to God, you could see the tie, the tux, the whole 9 yards. And in the arms, you could see 3 heads in each arm.
Wow. You probably just gave Frater his next Halloween costume.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I bet Frater would love to know more about that.
No, it was crazy. But if you really want to see what goes through the mirrors, put 2 mirrors up like this and just shoot right down the middle. Take pictures with a flash, and you'll be surprised on what you see coming in and out of the mirrors.
I believe
do that.
Well, this mirror is no longer in our house, thankfully. As soon as I got those chills, I'm like, I have to get this thing out of her room. I don't know. I'm like, I have to get this out of here.
And what did you do?
As soon as I picked it up off the wall, I'm like, it just like, you could almost feel the negativity, like just touching it. And I'm like, I got to get this out of here. So as soon as I picked it up, I took it out onto the back porch for the time being that day. And I put it face down on a towel on the back porch because I'm like, I don't need something else coming into it or coming out of it and trying to stay. So I had it out there for a while. The really The thing that gave me the most chills, though, was my daughter called me later that night when they got back to the hotel that they were staying in with the band. And I said, "Oh, how was your day?" She's like, it was okay until like maybe around like 3:30. She's like, "We were fine." And all of a sudden, I just got so hot and so like lightheaded. I almost passed out. They had to take me to like the medical tent to make sure I wasn't dehydrated or something, but they're like, "No, she's okay. I don't know what's going on." So they gave me water and stuff. And she's like, but then after a little while, it faded away. I felt better. And I'm like, "What time did you say that was around?" And she's like, "Around 3:30. And that's the exact time that I picked that mirror up off the wall and took it out of the house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what did you do with the mirror?
I didn't say anything to her about it then because I didn't want to like freak her out while she was down there, but I told her when she came back. So I probably did a very bad witchy thing. I literally put it out in the front yard with a free sign on it because I didn't know what to do with it. And I'm like,
can I make a suggestion? Can I tell you? For future reference. Okay. Say like you get a bad salt and pepper shaker, right? Something like that. Whatever you know that's leaving off negative energy, right? You get a box, you put sea salt into the box. Then you put the salt and pepper shakers or whatever you want to throw away, put it in the box on top of the sea salt. Okay. And then you put some more sea salt. All right. And then you wrap it up. Okay. You make sure it's secure. Then you go into the woods, right? And you find the oldest tree you can find and bury it. Dig a hole, throw some sea salt into the hole, right? And put the box or whatever you have it in, put it in the ground and cover it back up. Okay. Yeah. And the whole meaning behind that is the energy from that article or that item that you did. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mother Earth is grounding it right now and it will never leave where it's at. So that negative energy will never, ever leave. I thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, definitely keep that for if anything ever happens again. But yeah, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, I really don't want to break it because I don't know if that will cause anything worse to happen. And I'm like, I don't like the idea of putting a bunch of glass in the yard and or anything. So I was just like, I just don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, I'm not taking it over to Natasha's. I know she's got enough going on in the shop. She don't need this on top of
it. Well, thank you for sharing about your house.
Oh, well, and like my daughter, when she come home, she goes, "My room feels so much lighter." She's like, "I can actually hear the traffic outside my room." And she's like, "I couldn't hear traffic outside my room before." And I could sit in there with her and talk to her and not fight. And I could actually sit in there for more than 5 minutes. And I'm like, it definitely had to be something attached to the mirror. And like my husband said, it was in the house when we bought it. It wasn't on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's interesting. I can see that. Yeah. So, definitely can see that.
So yeah, but I still say there's still something else here because I can feel there's a closet outside our bedroom door that I don't like. I actually put stuff in front of it because it creeps me out. It's the only closet in our house, and we've lived here for 10 years now. I hate that closet. And it's so funny because that's where we keep our Christmas presents.
Well, you know what? More than likely, it's a portal. It's a portal there.
That's what kind of something I was thinking too. I'm like, it's something's coming in and out of that, and because it's not all the time. My husband says at times that he will see shadows when he's going up or down the steps. He'll see like a shadow moving. Okay. It's not his, like something coming up behind him or so. And I'm just like,
maybe you can get Natasha and the Frambly to go over your house and bring Freighter along and maybe try to close that portal.
We've been talking about having her and Brittany come over and seeing what they can sense. And oh yeah, my husband just said about his sleep paralysis. He had a night where he was laying there and I was asleep, but he said he felt like something rushed him on his side of the bed and just stood over him. And he literally could not feel, he felt like he couldn't move. He just like laid there. He was afraid to even try and move for the longest time before he finally felt it go away. But I'm just like I've never felt that, but I mean, like I've felt that feeling of not being alone in the basement every once in a while, which I never really felt anything down there. But over the past couple of years, it's like there's certain times where it's like I don't feel like I'm alone.
Right. But
yeah.
Now his sleep paralysis, right? That is what the scientists say it is. Okay. But on our side of the earth, it is called the old hag theory.
Yes. And I have heard that.
Yes. And I highly recommend Trevor to Google it, and even you, the old hag theory, and read about it. And, so to me, I mean, we have a guest on when we used to have Chasing Prophecy. There was a guest that used to come on. He was from California, and he did sleep studies. And me and him would duke it out all the time. He's telling me it's sleep paralysis, and I'm telling him no, it's some ugly-looking witch sitting on front, sitting on my chest, not making me move. You know what I mean? So it's like, so ours is called an old hag theory.
Yeah, because he was definitely like, babe. And he usually doesn't tell me about that kind of stuff. Like, it took him a while before he said anything about him seeing shadows. And I'm like, why did you not tell me? I'm like, you know that I've been into paranormal stuff since I was younger. Like, I have tons of books on paranormal stories and all that kind of stuff. I mean, paranormal shows are on my TV more often than anything. Like, okay. That's what I love. And it's just crazy. I'm like, why did you wait so long?
Now your husband is saying the dark energy in the basement is very shy, but very sneaky.
Yeah, he says that he feels it more than I do. Like I said, yeah, there's very rarely times where I'm like, yeah, I'm not going down in the basement right now. Like, that doesn't happen very often for me. I personally think it's something that moves through the levels of the house. Because sometimes you can feel it in my daughter's closet in her room, which that closet's right underneath the closet on our floor, on the second floor of the house. I feel like there's some kind of like tunnel there where it just kind of floats through the different floors of the house. So it's not always in the same place, but but to me, it's contained in that same kind of tunnel area.
Okay. Tara, questions, hon?
I wanted to ask you, Shawn, a question. Is the reason you buried the Ouija board by the tree in Sue's yard the same reason that you told her to do what you did?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'll tell you the story behind that. So my friend Sue, she had an old Ouija board, right? And what I told you what to do, she did it with that Ouija board. Okay. So they had a party and they buried it right underneath the old oak tree in their backyard. Okay. So it was like in October or something like that. The very first thing that happened, the leaves fell off the tree.
Oh, wow.
That, it was fall because they're falling down, you know what I mean? Oh. So the next morning, and I mean, it's a big tree. And when the leaves fall on her property, which is small, I mean, you got an inch of leaves everywhere, right? Yeah. As God is my witness, hon, and this is the honest God's truth. She sent me a picture the following day. Okay. Not one leaf fell on that area where she buried that box. Okay. And that's a true story.
Oh, that'd be creepy.
And then so come wintertime, we had a hard snow. Okay. And I got a picture the following morning from her. The whole ground was covered in snow, right? Except that box where she buried that. And one more thing, when my brother was over there, we went over to check out the square. And my brother, he kicked leaves all over that box or that thing where they dug. The next morning, she sends me a picture, and all those leaves are gone. So that right there is, for me, which is really, really majorly important. Do not burn things. And this is not for you. This is for everybody out there. Don't burn whatever's bothering you. Don't throw it away because you're giving the mess to another person. And if you know the way karma works, he'll eventually come back and bite you in the butt again.
Yeah, that's the one thing with the mirror. I'm like, I'm so sorry to whoever gets this thing. And it literally sat there for probably like a day and a half before someone did end up stopping for it. But I'm like, I'm sorry, but I literally just have no idea what else to do with this right now. And I just needed it off my property because my concern was my daughter at that point. And I'm just like, I just got to make sure she's safe because I can't have something, messing with my kids, because then it's really going to get bad in this house because I'm not going to put up with it.
Right. I totally understand. So you'd say you like ghost shows, right?
Oh, yes.
What's your favorite?
My favorite. So I love Kindred Spirits and Dead Files. Those are my two favorites.
Okay.
But I love a lot of different ones. There's one that I refuse to watch, the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, him.
Watch him anymore.
Glitter pants.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't. He's just obnoxious.
Well, he made a big stink in the paranormal field, didn't he not?
What's that?
He made a big stink in the paranormal field.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
One, it's like, I was so upset too because I'm like, there are so many of these shows that I love to watch, and I'm like, why are there not more seasons coming out of them? And here you find out someone's trying to prevent it because they're jealous. And I'm like, well, that's not cool. We're all here trying to do the same thing. Well, not everybody, but we're all curious. We're all trying to find out things, and I don't know.
Go ahead.
You know why Shawn loves Kindred Spirits?
Why?
His idol chip coffee's on there.
Oh, I love the ones that have chip coffee on them.
All right.
I did like watching the Holzer Files just because of Cindy Kaza. I love Cindy Kaza.
Yes.
Bullshit. I do like her. He does not like Chip. I'm messing with him. But he does like Cindy. I think she's really talented.
She's actually taking over on Dead Files from Amy.
Good. Did Stacy mention to you that I'm an empath?
Oh, yeah.
That's from Trevor.
Yeah, my husband he's very empathic. He's sometimes really scary with the things that he can pull up and just know. And our son is the same way. Like, it's that boy always knows what you need to hear and when you need to hear it. And he's 10. He has no clue sometimes when, what's going on. And it's just like, Trevor could be having a bad day, come home, I feel like a bad dad, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And John will come out, oh, hey, Dad, I love you. You're the best dad ever. I just love you so much. And thank you so much for everything. Like, exactly what he needs to hear. No idea he needs to hear it. Like, this boy, my husband, he's the same way. He feels things and he'll tell me, I don't feel good about this person and or so. And then you find out a little later, oh, yeah, you were right. Like, scary. How did you know?
So
Yeah,
getting back to the ghost shows, what was your
Yes.
first, besides the man with the glasses? Is there another one that you dislike?
that I don't like. Um, I don't know. I mean, I used to watch the Ghost Hunters. You know, the one.
Taps?
Yeah, I used to watch those a lot when I was younger, but now I'm not really. I don't know. They don't feel like they show a lot. They show them a little bit, but that's about it. And I'm like, I like more information. That's why I love Kindred Spirits, because they talk about the history and they talk about so much more than all these do. In Dead Files, she really goes into explanations of everything, and her partner goes and digs up all the information on the history. And
Question to ask you about that. I have a question to ask you about that, and I ask everybody the same question that watch that about Amy and in the police dude, right? Do you think they talk before the show?
I don't
I do.
believe they do.
I do believe they do. I do. But I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Hey, that's your yeah.
I mean,
I don't think they do. I think he's how can I say it nicely? I don't think he's that good of an actor to act like he's so surprised as he is on the things that
First and foremost, he's a Marine. Secondly, he was a homicide detective. So, I mean, there's just no acting there.
Yeah.
The Marines are just like, it kind of like kills their personality. Trust me, I know. I have one.
Trevor says, I like Ghost Adventures, even though I know it's a little over dramatic. Yeah. They're all over dramatic. They all are. Okay?
They are.
And that one, I forget what they call it, but it really, where they put the blindfold on, okay?
Yes.
And they got
method.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've been doing this for like a lot of years, okay? And I watched it a couple of times on TV, okay? How do you know what is actually being said in those ears?
Yeah.
Think about it. Now, I mean, I give every paranormal investigator the utmost respect. I give the ones on TV the utmost respect. But from what the producers that do produce these shows, okay, I would like you to put a little microphone in that little headset there, and I want to hear exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, I can agree with that, because, I mean, to me, it's like, okay, how much editing went into this?
A shitload.
Yeah, it's like it all comes down to editing, because there's so much that you don't see, and I know that when I'm watching them, I do take that into account, and so, but yeah, like my husband said, it's over dramatized. I completely agree with that point, because a real like I've heard Frater Crow say, when you're going into somewhere and you're actually wanting to know answers, you don't go in and say, hey, throw something, and when something's thrown, you don't scream and run out of the house. I mean, that's not investigating.
But you know what? Here's the way I look at it, and I'm going to give you the best advice. I'm going to give it to all the paranormal investigators out there right now. I'm going to give you the best advice that I live by. Okay, if you treat the ghost with respect, in return, it's going to respect you, and you're going to get a hell of a lot more good evidence. If you disrespect that ghost, in return, they're going to disrespect you, break your cameras, drain your batteries, and maybe get slapped upside the head.
Yep.
So seriously, if you need to respect, you have to respect the spirits. You got to. 100%. And I'm telling you, your investigation would go, oh my God, we got a lot of good stuff when we would respect. But that was my number one rule in my group. You respected it.
Yes.
And if it was a bad spirit, then I dealt with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, show them respect.
Well, and
But
that's what I have had to do that with my house as well, because like, I mean, we moved in here, we'd been living here for a couple years or so, and then all of a sudden the light above our stove just kept burning out. I was burning through light bulbs like it was candy, you know, like I'd never had a light bulb burn out that fast, and nothing changed with the oven. Checked the wiring, nothing was going on. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm spending a fortune on light bulbs. I had to literally stand in my living room in the kitchen and say, okay, whoever's doing this, I see that you're here, but you got to stop burning through my light bulbs, because I can't afford to keep light bulbs in this. This is ridiculous. Like, you got to find another way to talk or something, to communicate. I'm listening, but please stop blowing through my light bulbs. It has not burned out since.
Really? Yeah. You make a deal. Now, some of the houses that we investigated, some of the clients I had, okay, they didn't mind having the ghost there. Okay. So we actually I would go in and make a deal with the spirit, right? Like, okay, they like you, they want you here, and you can do whatever you want from 6 a.m. up till 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
But after 10, you have to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And it works.
Yep.
Honest to God. It's just like you kind of make the deal with the spirit.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely had to do that here.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say, you know, if you're going to be good, if you're going to be copacetic here and you're not going to be causing harm or friction, that's fine. But the minute you start causing trouble for me and my family, we're going to have a problem.
Oh,
and
my
you're
God.
not going to like
you're redhead, aren't you? You're redhead? You're a redhead?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. God bless you, ghost. That's all I can say. God bless.
Maybe that's why they don't mess with me as much as the rest of my family.
God bless you, Trevor. God bless you. I'll get you some rosaries or something like that. You're gonna definitely need them. I'm joking with you. Tara, do you have anything?
Well, you know, one of the things we had talked about before was when you were on a certain paranormal show, they actually told you what you had to wear. That's how bad it gets. They actually tell you what you have to wear, how you have to present yourself, things you can say, things you can't say.
Right.
They basically scripted him completely.
Yes. I was not allowed to actually do what I knew what I was doing. I'm not going to put the show out there. It's not even on anymore. But the Hollywood producer called me up and said, we like you, you know, you were mentioned. A lot of people said that you're the one to go to with this. And I said, cool, I'll do it. Right. And they went out and bought me shirts. Okay. And I was not allowed to say what I really wanted to say. I had to say what they told me what to say. And I remember it clearly, and it's been a while since this happened. It's been real clearly. I remember the husband and wife were sitting on the couch, okay? And they were holding hands. And they made them hold their hands 13 different times to get the perfect shot. And I'm like, okay. I was just like, but, you know, I did, you know, I got some monetary stuff for doing that, but it was okay. And then I was also on TAPS. Okay,
oh, yeah?
Whenever they were over at the Carnegie Library over in Homestead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I wasn't allowed to be part of the investigation, but I was like the first so-called witness. Okay. And I couldn't wear nothing logo. I had whenever I wanted to speak, I had to speak a certain way. I couldn't talk double negatives. I had to actually go by a script from what they had to say, you know. And it's like Nah, I don't think so, but I did it. You know what I mean? And
Well, I
it,
can understand the no logos because, like, I know that sometimes, like, they'll have to pay certain amounts for logos and stuff to have it on the show, or else then they have to blur stuff out or whatever. But I mean, I guess I can understand that part. But yeah, the scripting.
but it was good. It was good. I really enjoyed myself on that. I sure did.
Yeah, he never told me he was on it, and he knew I watched it, so he was waiting patiently
Oh.
for the episode to come on, and I freaked. All my kids freaked. Like, yeah, it was funny.
What episode is it? You'll have to send me so I can look it up.
It's the Carnegie Library in Homestead.
It was one of the first couple seasons,
Okay.
and it is
Yeah.
on.
Is it on Hulu?
Well, I don't know.
I'll have to look it up.
You know what
They
the
have some
funny
of the
thing is?
seasons on there.
Here's the funny thing about it. I never saw the show. I never.
You
saw
never
it.
saw it?
No, he didn't. He doesn't
Nope.
watch.
I don't watch.
He asked me what I thought of it, though.
Yeah.
And then the other show, I never watched it. Never watched it.
I can understand that. I probably wouldn't either. I don't even like to hear my
And
voice.
it's not
on the
so
voice-
much.
The
It's
voice
not so
call.
much that being embarrassed about doing it. It's just I did it. I knew it. You know what I mean? It just.
It's part of his humility.
But you know what? Honestly, whenever taps came on, everyone saw my face. My God, my phone blew up. And I remember I was sitting at Eaton Park up in Dormont, and right after an AA meeting, okay, all of a sudden, ding, 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 all my phone's going off. All these people are texting, hey, you're on, Gus, taps, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, so tonight must have been the night that I was supposed to
Yeah.
watch it, but I never did.
I guess that finally aired. So funny.
But I don't know. Just I guess when I started PPS back in 2006, we were old school, okay, and I don't know if I'm getting older or not, but the way that groups investigate today, right? That's just too much knowledge, too much equipment for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot now, and I think sometimes when you have too much, it can actually be a deterrent to your investigation instead of a help, a hindrance instead of a help. Because then you're focused on all that stuff and you're not focused on what you're actually there to be doing.
Exactly. And by the time you set up all the equipment, it's time to bust it all down again. And, you know, it's not so much the equipment. It just, personally, give me a K2 meter, give me an EVP, a digital voice recorder, I'm set. You know what I mean? I'm set. Yeah. I mean, you know, and it's
flashlight.
Like, not even a flashlight. I don't do that shit. That's romper room stuff. Flashlight. Romper room. But,
see, I always like the investigations where they take like a toy or a ball and you know it moves.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. That's not bad at all. Hey, do you know what you should invest in? Or cat balls.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They're called cat balls.
I need to get some of those.
They work. They're good.
Yes, Raider likes those too.
Cat balls are the best. I'm telling you, they're really good. I've had experience with them. So
well, I don't like the computerized stuff because it's too easy to manipulate anyway. I would rather have a K2 and maybe a spirit box, maybe. But then again, I was taught by the best, so you know, it was basically the better. So,
but you know, like I knew a lot of people that would take EVPs, okay, and then they would load it up to their computer and put it on Audacity, okay, and honest to God, they would manipulate that whole audio just to get a voice, like somebody saying something. And I'm like, I'm not going to accept that.
Yeah.
They go, why? I said, because you manipulated it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to accept that. I want an EVP that you don't manipulate.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. I mean, I knew a guy. He took audio of leaves rustling around on the ground, and he literally made a sentence out of those leaves.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's out there. Blair, hey Blair, thank you. Shout out to you too, buddy.
mhm.
Shout out to you too, my friend. All right, we got about 6 more minutes going on here. Is there any last comments that you have to say, Tara?
I just wanted to thank Stacy for coming on and being like my sister in crime, and not literally, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
figure. And I'm glad you got to finally meet my original mentor, so that's pretty cool.
It's been fun talking to you.
Oh, thank. I'm blushing. I'm blushing. I'm just a blushing here. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed what you had to say tonight.
Well, thank you.
You have wonderful, wonderful energy. Okay.
That's what
Um,
I've been told.
keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And
I try because I mean,
you
I
know,
grew.
here's a saying I got about trying. Okay. Here's what I say. It's like Nike. Just do it.
Just do it. Yep.
Just do it.
Well, I always tell people I grew up seeing what being the opposite does to you and does to a person and to their surroundings, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. Life's too short to go through it being angry and down and mean. It just wastes time. There's so much good out there. Yeah, there's bad, but there's so much good. Why not be the good if you can't find any? You know,
Exactly.
why add to the bad when you can be the good?
True. True. Oh my God. You man. I'm like impressed. I'm telling you, Trevor, you really lucked out there, dude. You really did. You did a lot. Again, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. Everybody, I'm really happy that you got to come on and shared a little bit. Blair, Trevor, other ones that came on. It was a really, really good show tonight. And Stacy, I cannot thank you enough
Thanks for
for
having me.
being. Yes, I eventually, hopefully, next year we'll have you back on again, see where you're at in your thing. Okay.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, everybody, I say this all the time. Um, please, if you see somebody that needs a hug, give them a hug. Okay. If you see somebody hurting, go up and sit next to them. You don't have to talk to them, but just be there with them. And if somebody wants you to talk with them. It does not hurt to talk, to sit. You know, the world is not a good place right now. We're in a real bad spot, and it is affecting a lot of people like it's affecting me. Okay. So if you get the opportunity, please, please help somebody out by sitting there, holding them, knowing and telling them that everything is okay. Children, if you can, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Okay. And people who don't have any parents or don't have any children, find your best friend and give them a hug, please. And tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. They really do. Again, I want to thank you for being on the show tonight. And we'll be back again, same time, same bat station, whatever you want to call it, next week, Tuesday night into the night. And on that note, I got to play you some commercials. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
I got to find them. Okay, I got to play. Where is it at? Where is it at? Keep talking before I get it. There we go. We got it. Good night, everybody.
You are listening to UPRN, United Public Radio Network, coming to you live on 105.3 right up to 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. UPRNTalkRadio.com.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards, Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast, in 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. For 4 years, the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast has provided advice and tips from international best-selling authors, world-class artists, contest judges and winners, and industry professionals based on the world-famous Writers of the Future contest created in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard to help the aspiring writer and artist no matter their age. It is dedicated to the future of storytelling and art by showing that it is never too late to start, and those who make it are those who never give up. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate the Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in any or all of the 3 categories: education, storyteller drama, and art. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and go out and vote now.
Hey there. It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcasts. There's an amazing show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. The News on the Flip Side, in the category of politics and news. News on the Flip Side is a much different news and political program which is not deemed as opinion news. Listen as Joe Montaldo brings to you just the facts from trusted sources which will allow you, the people, to make up your own minds on the various stories being reported on. Go to podcastawards.com to nominate News on the Flip Side in the category of politics and news. That's podcastawards.com, and please take a moment and do it now.